Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I just want to take a moment to thank you guys very much for your donations to our channel's PayPal account. Our friend here at the channel, Amy, who has been a great contributor to the channel, has been really great at sending me emails and making me aware of certain things. Well, Amy wrote to me recently, and Amy mentioned a really kind of interesting topic, certainly something that happened to me, and I'd be interesting to know how many of you experience this too. And this is a form of narcissistic dehumanization of a victim. Now, what Amy brought up was the fact that her narc and other victims' narcs that she's been in contact with at Facebook and other social media groups were never called by their first name. Now, this is certainly a form of dehumanization. I, of course, always referred to Trevor as Trevor, and Trevor never called me Kim. Now, as you guys know, I recently sold my house in Canada and moved back to Mexico. Now, I say back to Mexico because I did live here prior to this move. I was here for a 10-year period of time. In fact, I think I've been to Mexico over 40 times, and two of my sons are born right here in this area on the Bay of Banderas, both in the state of Jalisco in Puerto Vallarta. Now, because I had lived in Mexico before, I've always had an interest in Mexican art, the language, the food, the culture, and Trevor, of course, knew this. So Trevor had adopted a pet name for me, and that pet name, and I've never mentioned it before because damn, is it embarrassing, but Trevor called me Idiota. He always called me Idiota, and I'd actually come to respond to that name. He would call me that at home when we were there alone. He would call me that out in public. He'd call me that in a grocery store. He would call me that when we were working, and we did work together, and we had a home renovation business, so we would be in a home doing a price quote for potential clients, and he would be calling me Idiota in front of these people. Now, the direct translation for the word idiota is moron. I was responding to the pet name, the nickname, moron, for 5 years. Now, I'm just going to say that I have never mentioned this before because, well, first of all, it's extremely embarrassing to me, very humiliating, and I guess over the course of the channel, I knew I would talk about it, but I kind of had to come to terms with that, and I had to ask myself, why I would have allowed this absolute piece of shit loser from hell to call me a moron all the time, like it was my name. And no, there's nothing endearing about the term idiota. And yeah, I've been pretty embarrassed about that. So Amy, thank you very much for kind of giving me a kick in the pants about this. I do believe that we're only as sick as our secrets. So I do feel a bit liberated admitting this. So it has definitely been something kind of on the back burner and something I knew I would discuss one day. No, I've not come to terms with it. No, I have no explanation as to why me, a middle-aged woman, fairly accomplished woman, a mother of 5 fabulous sons, why I would have allowed this utter piece of shit to call me Idiota for 5 years. It's, yeah, it's a mind blower. Being called Idiota was certainly very dehumanizing, and I am glad that I finally spit that out. My God, I've said some damned embarrassing things over the course of this channel. So there you go, one more. But I would like to know if any of you experience the same sort of thing where the narcissist wasn't communicating with you using your name. Now, that is certainly one aspect of how a narcissist dehumanizes someone, but there is another way, and I think it's something that's very, very painful also for a lot of people, and that's triangulation. Now, the narcissist, of course, will triangulate you with other members of the narc harem, but I found that Trevor would dehumanize me with this triangulation with many objects. I mean, sometimes it was the television where he would just be locked on with the TV, and there I'd be, trying to communicate with him. Even something really simple like, what do you want for dinner? And he just, blinders on. I mean, wouldn't respond to me. It was as if I wasn't even there. And even if I would step in front of the TV and say, hey, pal, like, I really need an answer to this question, he would just kind of, around me and pretend I wasn't even there. So I think triangulation really encompasses a lot of things. A lot of people really quickly recognize that they're being triangulated with another man or another woman, but objects are often used to triangulate someone. It can be any number of things, and certainly many of us will say the cell phone was quite frequently used to triangulate us and pull us into a mix where we were now extremely unimportant, not even there. Now, most certainly many of us would agree that pornography was certainly another thing that was used to triangulate us. And we've talked about sort of that whole sexual aspect of abuse. And when a narcissist is having sex with a victim and they are just fixated on pornography, be it a video or, some website or whatever the hell. I don't know where he found that pornography, but there was always pornography playing on the TV. And of course, that is extremely dehumanizing as well. When you think you're making love to someone, you're actually not even there. They're masturbating on you and they are fixated onto, the images of pornography. This was extremely typical. And like everything else I've mentioned today, pretty damned embarrassing. Now, when a narc has an opportunity to have sex with their partner, but rather than do that, kind of in a one-on-one situation, and decides to inject into that scenario pornography, well, this too is triangulation and extremely dehumanizing, as I'm sure many of you would agree. Oh my, no shortage of ways a narcissist can dehumanize a victim. But I think this dehumanization is in itself a very kind of unique aspect of the abuse. I mean, when you consider physical abuse, sexual abuse, is dehumanization, financial abuse, I mean, they're all very unique compartments of abuse. So I think when people come to recognize, okay, I've been in a really abusive relationship, I got to get out of here, I need to go no contact, and now I need to develop a foundation for healing. Well, I'll tell you for me, and I can really only speak for myself, when I initially looked out at all of the abuse, all of the ways my life had been affected, impacted by my relationship with Trevor, it was just too big. Like, it was so vast. It was completely overwhelming. And I really felt like it was just consuming me. So for me, I had to just stop for a moment. I had to kind of identify very specific types of abuse. Being called idiota was certainly one of them. But when you take the abuse and you create little compartments, I think it makes it a bit easier, because it's one thing to say, you need to heal from this. Well, heal from what? I mean, it's this huge, vast, overwhelming picture. Like, heal from what? It's just too big. So this is one compartment that I created, and it is certainly something that I've been kind of working through over the last 2 years. I've been away from that horrible man and no contact from him. Yes, damn right, it's hurtful. Yes, it's extremely embarrassing. And it really made me question why in the world I ever would have let this piece of crap call me a name like that. Over and over again, we've discussed the similarities between all of our narcs. I mean, we've all stood in each other's shoes, and I'm really eager to hear from you guys. Please let me know if the narcissist called you something other than your name, and was that a derogatory name, as idiota most certainly was. I really want to thank Amy for bringing this up, because to be honest with you, today, right now, making this video, this is the first time I have said the word idiota out loud, though it has definitely been looping in my head. I feel much better now, so Amy, thank you. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day, and I'm really going to look forward to seeing your comments, and let's see if this is one more common thread linking these monsters.